Welcome to All Things Marketing Podcast, the podcast that talks all things marketing for both franchise and multi-location marketing leaders. ATM is brought to you by PureDriven. We'll show you how to turn your brand into a money-making machine. Here's your host, Steve Rockwood.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Franchise ATM. My name is Steve Rockwood. I am the marketing manager here at PureDriven. Today we have special guest Holly Stewart on the show. She is a franchisee for Two Men and a Truck, as well as TutorDoctor. Holly, how are you doing today?
I'm good.
I am glad. Well, we talked on Friday on the phone for a bit, and then we had a weekend. So did you have a good weekend? Do anything fun?
I did have a good weekend. Nothing podcast worthy, but I did stain and seal my deck as well as pressure wash my driveway. So I'm feeling pretty accomplished.
Nice. Do you own the pressure washer or rent the pressure washer?
I do. Okay, so we could really get off on a tangent here because I'm, again, pretty proud of myself. But I got one from Costco, and it came with this. It's sort of like a vacuum head, and it's about 14 inches wide, and so it's literally like vacuuming out there. And I say that to mean I don't have to go back and forth in like a 2 or 3 inch sprayer.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I can just go there and basically vacuumed my driveway twice, and I will tattle on myself. I hadn't done it in 2 or 3 years, so there was plenty of grime. But it's amazing. And so now that went as fast as it did, I'm going to pressure wash the entire neighborhood. Like, watch out, here I come.
Oh, see, there's your new franchise. You can add a third one right there.
There you go. Except it's so rewarding. I might not be able to be the franchisee. I may have to be the labor because you can't hear anything. You can't bother on your phone. I mean, you're kind of in this world where you have to you're alone with your thoughts, for better or worse, and you're just, so. And our weather was nice. I live here in Atlanta, and the weather was nice and sunny. I was outside, I was getting a tan, I was getting a workout, and I was cleaning my house all at the same time. So
that is awesome. Yeah, my wife and I want to get one because we have a normal driveway, like tar, but then we have a brick side driveway of bricks, and they are quite disgusting. So we want to see how beautiful those will get. Nice.
I'll send you a picture. I did my brick walkway as well, so I'll shoot you a picture. And really, probably over a franchisee, maybe Costco should hire me for advertising their pressure washer, because you are not the first person I have told and ranted and raved about. So.
Well, it's perfect timing because our Sam's Club membership actually just expired, and Sam's Club and Costco are 4 minutes away from each other here. So it's decision point of which one we're going to join again. So that might sway us towards Costco.
Be the kicker. Yeah. They're both good though. So
that is awesome. Well, today, aside from the power washer talk, we were going to have you on for some franchise talk, and more specifically, kind of just talking about what it takes to become a multi-location owner, and in your case, kind of branching out to different franchises, and then what the transition periods were like kind of in your life when doing that. So I guess my first question for you is just what brought you into franchising, or where did your story begin?
Sure. Well, I did not grow up wanting to be a business owner. Probably knew very little, learned very little in school and growing up about even franchise systems. So I entered the workforce in market research. I was in the corporate world and kind of got burnt out on that, decided I wanted to go back to get my master's degree so I could go into the classroom and teach. That was something that I had always kind of wanted to explore but had put off. So I thought now's the time. That's what I'm going to do. And while I go to school, I don't want to blow through all of my savings. I think I'll go try to find a job. I found myself applying to answer phones at Two Men and a Truck. And they actually offered me a job as a general manager, as time luck would have it with my experience and where they were in that franchise. they had a need and I had the skill set. So I came on board there. I actually called the school and asked them to postpone my enrollment for just a semester. I totally intended to go back, but I thought it wouldn't be fair to myself or to the company for me to try to take on two big new ventures like that all at one time. So that's what I did, and I actually never went to school. So I worked my way up through the franchise system through that 2 Men and a Truck business. The owner of the 2 Men Truck that I was working for actually owned a couple 2 Men and a Trucks, a number of them here in the Atlanta area. So over the course of 4 or 5 years, I worked my way through multiple positions until I was running his 5 franchises here, which actually accounted for 10 offices in the Atlanta area. He is an absentee owner, so he really gave me the flexibility or the ability, I guess I should say, to run it like I own it, which was awesome because that's where my love of kind of franchises was cultivated and how I kind of decided I wanted to get to the franchisee system, and sort of what changed my mind, I guess. Like I told you on Friday, I had told somebody else, oh my gosh, I'll never be an owner of a company. Just the responsibility of that is just too great. And I changed my mind. So when an opportunity came up for me to buy my current franchisee out of one of his franchises, I jumped on the opportunity. I saw a life that I didn't really, kind of a work-life balance I didn't even know was an option that could exist. So I jumped on it, and that's sort of how I found franchising and how I got here.
Awesome. No, it's a really good story. And then actually, my next question is, for those of us that don't know, what does 2 Men and a Truck do?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I just jumped right in. 2 Men and a Truck is a franchise moving company. So we do, we're actually international. We are the largest franchise moving company in the United States. There are over 300 franchises. So we do moving both local and long distance, commercial and residential. The bread and butter is our local residential moves, but we really do it all. So we were founded back in 1985 by a mom who drew. That's a cool story. She drew on a napkin the logo for her sons who needed to put an ad in the paper because they wanted to, make some money during the summer with their pickup truck. They left for college. She kept getting phone calls, so she turned it into a franchise business, putting $500 into the company. And here we are, nearly 40 years later, rocking and rolling and booming. So we move household goods is the short answer.
Awesome. We actually moved 7 months ago. I've moved a lot in my life, and we've never used a moving company before, but we used one last December, and I have not, first of all, the convenience was amazing. I mean, they did everything. They quoted 2 hours, took maybe an hour total, and the one guy was the largest human being I've ever seen and the strongest human being I've ever seen. He was just picking up our stuff by himself, going up and down stairs on things that I would have thought required about 6 people.
It really is amazing. I mean, they definitely condition their body. They do something. They are move heroes. I mean, I could not do what they do. But yeah, I tell anybody who says that. I've never used a moving company before. I say, okay, well, be careful because once you do it, you'll never go back.
Yeah, I don't think we ever will. It was we used one on the front of our move and on the other side of our move. We used different people because it was local and we moved about 3 hours away. But yeah, both of them were amazing. The first group was probably 6'4" tall, lanky guys, kind of like me, and could do everything. And then the other 2 here were just short, stocky, just the strongest men ever. I'm pretty sure they were competing for world's strongest man on their side, on the side.
That's funny. That's so funny. Yep, they come in all shapes and sizes. But, well, that's good. I'm glad you had a good moving experience. Moving, unfortunately, has a bad rep. Everyone thinks we're, full of thieves or we're going to come break stuff and things like that, which actually makes it really fun to go in and show them who we really are because that's obviously not who we are at all. So it's a lot of fun to wow people and really take the stress out of their day and be able to come in and help. So I really enjoy it.
Yeah, it is great. I think our next step might be trying to hire a painter one day. We do all of our own painting in our house, but maybe one day that'll be our next step for convenience is hire someone to paint some of the house.
I'm with you. I'm teetering on that too. I've got a fence I need to paint next, but I don't know. That pressure washing has re-energized me to outdoor tasks. It might not be time for me yet.
That is true. Is the paint is the paint already fenced? Is the fence already painted?
No, well, part of my fence is, but I replaced the fence last summer. And so it was fresh, and they said, I think they told me 6 months for it to finish sapping out, doing everything it's supposed to do. And then I need to go at least seal it. So that's next on my to-do list.
Nice. I think ours is painting our front steps. They're concrete, and they painted them with not outdoor paint. So it's actually chipping with just spraying it with the hose. So I can't imagine what it would look like with a power washer.
Oh, see, it's going to be so much fun. You're going to have so much fun when you do it.
It'll be awesome. All right. So we know what 2 Men and a Truck is now. And then let's just say, let's go back in your story to where you owned one. I guess tell me about the transition from owning one franchise to multiple and kind of how that changed your normal day-to-day life.
Okay. Well, I owned one, and I made the commitment to myself when I took on ownership that I would do it very mindfully as I grew. I would take that on mindfully, and then I would grow mindfully. My just personality is very driven and aggressive, ambitious. And if you cannot give me a challenge and tell me I can't do it without me just grabbing the bull by the horns and giving it all I can, if nothing else. So, I knew I'd try to take over the world if I wasn't careful. So I took on the one franchise and kind of really set myself into that and really became engaged with that one franchise, making sure that all the systems were working right, that I really knew the ups and downs, that I had it the way I wanted to. And that allowed me a lot of freedom on my time. And I started to see, at first it was kind of nice. I could go travel and vacation and see friends I hadn't seen in a long time, and I'm a single mom, so spend a lot of time with my daughter at home and do all those things that sometimes you really feel guilty about not being able to do when you are a working parent and missing the lunch or the 3:00 pickup or whatever. And that was really enjoyable for a while. But I am there again. I think I'm built to work. And so I found myself kind of getting bored and wanting to dive back in. And so I started to explore other options. And while I was exploring other options, I was kind of testing out how the business did with me working remotely, with me, say, clocking out for a couple of days, seeing what level of engagement I needed to be and where they needed me and how they needed me. So I knew what I would be able to afford another franchise if I was able to grow, and how that would look at and what my abilities would be there. So I considered staying in the same industry I knew, staying at 2 Men and a Truck and learning a new demographic and potentially moving. Probably not me actually moving, but having to work remotely, get an apartment over there and split my time, or staying here locally and learning a whole new industry. And so that all of that sort of factored in and played into it. And, I definitely had unforeseen challenges as I grew. Nothing quite goes exactly like you plan. So I wouldn't say that was without any hiccups or bumps or bruises. But I'm kind of glad I did it that way, because I had a realistic approach, and I was sure that I had the time to devote to the new projects as I took them on without being terribly worried about what I had already created crumbling, if that makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, so that was sort of how that's not really even maybe the transition as much as what I did ahead of that. So as I started exploring, I did find TutorDoctor, which is an in-home tutoring company. So I decided I wanted to stay in a service industry that helped people. That's what really drives me at 2 Men and a Truck. I like moving people forward. And
that was a very good pun.
That was a good what? I'm sorry.
That was a very good pun. You said it keeps you moving forward and trucking.
Oh, yes. Yes, that's actually our core purpose.
Okay.
Is they've coined it, but I think probably because we all said it enough where they were like, let's grab that. But yeah,
Makes sense.
but I do. I like moving people forward. I like helping them into the next stage of their life, or coming in when they're stressed out and they can't figure out what they need to do. They need a professional, but it's something that we can come in and fairly quickly, show them that everything's going to be okay and take care of them. So that's what drove me to look into tutoring. Same kind of concept. We do it in home. So again, it's very similar. We can dispatch out to you and we can work within your home. That's something I'm very familiar with. So I found TutorDoctor, and I actually ended up not going with either one of my plans, staying either within the industry or within the demographic. I bounced on both of those, and went back to my hometown in South Carolina to set up a TutorDoctor franchise. And so the transition, you kind of asked about how I managed that. It's my attention had to shift a little bit, but I chose to do very similar things with both franchises. And since then, I've also brought on another 2 Men and a Truck franchise. So my days, when I'm deciding, yep, I'm ready to take on another franchise, my work days are small and they exponentially grow. And all of a sudden, I remember what grind is, and I'm putting in the 14-hour days and doing the high-level stuff and the immediate front-level stuff. And, you definitely go through that. But pretty quickly thereafter, you're able to kind of say, okay, I'm going to put in this work and just set it up. I've got a system that I know that works. And so I've just got to help lay this groundwork and get the people in place and get them kind of running. And then I can bounce back up to the owner level, and be more of the consultant for the business, as well as, doing a couple key owner type roles. So the transition hasn't been as challenging. I mean, you do have to be able to keep your blinders off and be able to kind of watch a few things at a time. So you have to be used to juggling multiple balls, and you don't know if there are 3 or 4 of them are going to fall at one time, which has been a threat a couple times, and that has been probably the most stressful. That's something I wasn't as prepared to deal with managing multiple 2 Men and a Trucks in the Atlanta area. I got used to managing a bunch of different locations and kind of being able to watch a bunch of different things and treat them a little different, very similarly, but they each have their own quirks and personalities and demographics within their area. So I had kind of gotten trained and used to that. So I sort of felt like I was coming back into my own as I took on the multi-unit franchisee role. But there again, like I said, you just don't know if they're all going to drop at one time or how they're going to drop. And there's no one to turn around to and say, help me. How do you want me to help you? What do you care about? I mean, that's you,
Yeah.
so.
Gotcha. And then actually that brings me to a question. A lot of the franchises that PureDriven works with, the owners that own multiple franchises, some of them have almost like an assistant that helps with basically all the franchises that they own. Do you have someone that kind of works with you across the board, or do you kind of set up your processes at the local level for each franchise and you don't have someone that kind of oversees everything along with you?
That is in the growth model. We are not there yet. I just acquired within the past year, have I gone from being a single unit franchisee to a multi-unit franchisee of multiple brands. So I really have been, although when I'm talking about it, it sounds like I had this very calculated, slow process. I had the calculated, slow process at the beginning. And then I was able to then build pretty quickly once I kind of got going. And actually the final franchise was just opportunity based. When it came along, it wasn't going to come along often. So I had to jump on it maybe a little earlier than I had anticipated. But right now they all run as their own. We call it our mirrored method. We found one kind of one system that really worked and proved successful. I told somebody not that long ago, I said it's kind of like the little engine that could, right? I was out there and I had this vision and I believed in it and I really thought it would work if we could just get everyone to do it and just see the vision as I saw it. I felt very strongly about it, but at the end of the day, I was chugging up this hill saying, I think I can. But once we got to the top and saw the success, we had continued month-over-month growth, we had 100% referral rating, all these key performance indicators we were looking at were all tinging really high consistently month-over-month. At that point, then I was, I was coasting down the valley, and then as I've started up these other hills, I'm saying, I know I can. So we take kind of that mirrored method and plug it into the next one and the next one. So they do run independently, but they run very similar from each other. As we grow, whether I take on more franchises or as these grow bigger, there is going to be opportunity to have, and potentially for these employees that are already there, to be able to grow into some sort of executive team that kind of oversees all of them, because I do see that very quickly. It's going to be a lot for me to just navigate, because I still even do some of the back end administrative, the accounting, compliance, some of that admin stuff I do across the board for all of them. And just that alone, like you mentioned, kind of maybe even an assistant, that alone is going to eat up my time and take away from the true owner role. So that's definitely in the pipeline. I can see why people have it, and I will get there. We're just not quite there yet.
Awesome. Makes sense. And then that brings me to another question that I didn't even realize I had till now, but you said you're a single mom with a daughter. So is she going to follow in the franchise footsteps, or is she going somewhere else?
I have no idea. It's going to be so fun to watch. Like I told you, I mean, literally, it was probably 10, 12 years ago that I literally were walking out. This is when I was in market research. We were walking out of the office, and me and my colleague were like, isn't it so great to be the owner? He's going to the beach and going to do all this stuff while we're working hard. And she turned to me and said, one day maybe we'll own this company. And I said, no way. I don't want to do that. I'm never doing that. That's not my cup of tea. So, and I said that in my late 20s. So she's 14. So I can't say where she's going. She enjoys it. Since she was very little, has been practicing how to answer the phone, from the back seat of the car, which is always hilarious. But now that we're getting into the age where she actually could be working, it's like pulling teeth to get her to come help me out at the office. So I don't know if that's just basic teenager or on work, or teenager on rebelling to be like mom, or what. But
I think it's basic, because my neighbor, her mom owned a business in town, and we would work there probably from it was a printing shop, so it's pretty easy to work there. Okay. So we worked there probably from age 10 to 14. But as soon as we hit that mark, we kind of dissolved away. As soon as we should work, we stopped. As soon as we were age of, we could probably start doing this a little bit more seriously. Nope, then we stopped. So I think it's
then there's
common.
Friends to hang out with and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I really don't. I could see her being very successful at it, but she's clearly her own person. And we are very, very different, where I am driven and have an idea and want to be the leader. She is a people pleaser and just, kind of wants to follow and all that kind of stuff. So I could easily see her carving her own way and doing something really cool. So
nice. Well, that is awesome. And then my final question that I ask everyone that comes on the podcast is, what is your favorite part about working in the franchise world?
You kind of made me nervous starting that. This is something I ask everybody. And I literally, in my head, I'm like, I've listened to your podcast. What is the consistent question? And the reason I say that is because I ask a really hokey interview question to every interviewee. And I always start it that way. Like, I ask this to everybody, so I'll go ahead and apologize in advance. I thought, oh, gracious, I'm getting a dose of my own medicine here.
Well, spoiler alert, I plan on putting as many of the responses together as possible at the end of the year. So you might end up in a compilation. Is that the word? Compilation? I don't know. I can spell it in my mind. I can't say it.
Too smart of a word to me. I'm just a mover. No, but that actually is pretty easy. What I enjoy the most about working in a franchise is being able to see the difference that we make. I really enjoy being part of something really big that you can be part of as a franchise system. People are always coming in and saying, oh my gosh, we've used you for years, and we know that they actually have never been a customer of ours. And we have resources and just people across the nation, which is really neat. But at the same time, we are a small business. So I'm able to see every day the imprint that I make. I'm able to see it fairly quickly. I'm able to see those results very quickly. I know that my staff feels that way too. None of them feel like just a number. They are all a name that produces results. When they don't show up one day, we feel their absence. So it's just a really cool. A franchise system is just a really cool way you can come in and own your business without some of the added stress. And it's definitely yours and something that you own, but something really cool too. That people, when you say, "Hey, I'm part of 2 Men in a Truck," they say, "Oh yeah, cool, I love them," versus, "Oh, I don't know what you're talking about," kind of thing. So,
for sure. Well,
but yeah, so that's franchise in general. But I think it potentially equates to small businesses too. It's just that stamp you can put on everything.
Yeah, no, it sounds perfect. And I'm pretty sure as soon as you started talking, the word came to me. It's compilation, not compilation. That's probably how you spell it.
A compilation? Yeah, okay, I'm with you now.
There you go. I was just making up words before. We'll call it a montage. That's easier. A montage of clips. There we go. But no, that's
there you go.
There you go.
That's perfect. I always come up with another, like a synonym when you can't. Me and my friend were talking about niche the other day. And we said, let's just avoid it. We don't know the right way to say that these days. We'll just pick a different word.
Well, I can't say the word vague. I can't. I say vague every time, and I do voiceover work sometimes. And I had this one. They wanted me to say the word vague multiple times, and my wife actually had to sit here next to me and say the word correctly so that I would mimic her and hopefully get it correctly, because I just couldn't say it in a sentence.
Bag? Like a backpack, like a shopping bag?
Vague with a V, so like mysterious or not. What's the definition of vague? If something's vague, it's not
vague?
Clear. Yeah. That one. See, I can't even say it.
That's hilarious.
I can't even say it close enough that you even know what I'm saying. Yeah. So
that's awesome.
I legitimately had to have my wife here saying the word correctly so that I would hopefully be able to mirror her at least one time.
That is so funny. That's awesome. That's really cool. Well, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I've really enjoyed this.
Yeah, it was great. I think this might actually be our longest one. So congratulations. I think you set the record. I think we're at 28 minutes.
Told you I can talk. That's not a problem.
That is perfect. And I do have one more question for you. If someone is moving, where or how would they contact either you or 2 Men and a Truck in general to hire some movers?
Sure. Well, you can go to 2menandatruck.com, and there's a location finder. So since your listening base is nationwide, that I would recommend you go there. I mean, you can go to 2menandatruck Smyrna.com to find us, because we're in the Smyrna area of Georgia, right outside of Atlanta. But I would suggest you go just to 2menandatruck.com and plug in your location. And there again, we've got over 300, so you're bound to be able to find someone near you. Or you can go to careers.2men.com if you're looking for a job.
Awesome. Well, that sounds perfect. Well, thank you very much for joining me today, Holly. We met on LinkedIn, so if anyone's listening and you want to maybe talk to Holly more, I'm sure you can find her on LinkedIn at Holly Stewart. And if you can't find it that way, search Holly Stewart, 2 Men and a Truck, and I'm pretty sure you're guaranteed to find you.
Yeah, I'm not hiding. I'm pretty out in the open. So yeah, come find me. Come talk.
Awesome. Sounds good. Well, thank you very much, Holly. And thank you, everyone, for listening to Franchise ATM. And we will see you here next time. Have a good one, everybody.
You just listened to All Things Marketing Podcast. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast to catch every new episode every day. Want to be a guest on the show? Sign up at PureDriven.com/guest. See you tomorrow here at the ATM.